Welcome back, everyone, to the Atomic Islands, where today we are back at the solar system build, right here down at the sun. And between episodes, I have built the path that goes all the way from the sun down to where Pluto is, way on the other side of the island. And my primary challenge that I had at the end of the last episode was finding dandelions. I managed to eventually get 5 of them, and that involved creating a nice patch of grass down there and using bone meal because dandelions had been very difficult to find in this particular challenge because of all these weird biomes all over the place, and I'm wondering why I didn't get any when I did those builds earlier. Whatever, I just didn't have any or didn't pick any in the past, and now I've got some yellow dye, and the reason I want that is because I want to have some yellow terracotta here. Good, and we'll be using that for Titan. Now, the other thing I need for the Titan build is some wool. Here we go. 7 wool. What is that going to do for me? Let's see, how many, what I want to do is I want to get some, I think I need to turn 3 into here. Use 3 of these. Okay, I'll be needing one more of them. Yes! I can't count. I was hoping to get 8 carpets. I made one of the carpets there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pair of black carpets and therefore have 6 yellow carpets, 3 black carpets, and 8 yellow terracotta. And I'm going to use this for my Titan build, which we'll go to in just one moment. Do I have any fences? Right here. Good. Let's all go off, and then as soon as we get down there, we'll be able to have a look what's going on here. Okay, there is Mercury just passed, and here's Earth and the Moon. Alright. Of course, no Mars, because there's no element named after Mars. So therefore we've got cerium and palladium, which I believe we discussed during the last episode. Then we head off all the way down here onto the other side. Now here we'll have to see if we can make this a little bit safer, since this is going to be, of course, a tourist location and all that stuff, and you must make things nice and safe for the tourists. But right now I just want to make sure I have the path in existence. Now here is where we have Titan. And what are we always going to find near Titan? And of course the answer to that is Saturn. Now Saturn, there are no elements named after Saturn. So you could say that Saturn is one of the Titans, but that would be stretching the naming a little bit. Let's see, I need to put, what if we put Saturn right here, especially alright, we'll put it there for now, but if it overshadows Titan, then it's going to be a problem. Now, the thing about both Saturn and Titan is that they are both yellow. And did I tell you something about earlier not being able to count? Yeah, I need, one more of these, which means more dandelions. Right. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that for now. And I'm going to need to do the rings, and something tells me that I'm going to be needing some string to get this done. Yes, I need string. Before I take care of the string, I want to make Saturn and Titan look a little bit different in their coloration, so I will use gold for Titan, and I could use block number 8. Then for Saturn, good. And then now if I did that right, I should now have string there. But can I place a block on top of the string? I thought you could do that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And the idea is to have these as rings all around the planet. And I was thinking that I would need 8 of them, but I need 12. So obviously I need to change this a little bit. That's the idea, though I ran out of wool in the process. The idea is to have yellow rings on this side of it, and on the dark side where we have that's away from the sun, I was going to use black rings because I keep on running out of yellow dye. I may change my mind and just find some more yellow dye, but that's another matter. The idea there then is this is Saturn and its rings. I know the rings shouldn't be directly touching the planet and all that stuff, but there's only so much you can do, and unfortunately that's not going to work because it's taking over the build. It looks like it's the main highlight of the build. So I think that instead what I'm going to do is just to get rid of Saturn altogether and just leave Titan by itself, and maybe a little footnote, of course, because we don't want to make it look like that the purpose of this build is to be a build of Saturn, because it's not. It was supposed to be a build of Titan. There you go. That will just be it for titanium. I'm using now back to the terracotta for that one, which was the minimum that I needed the yellow dye for in the first place. So with that, we're now able to head way down, because once you do Titan, you then have to go way far out in order to get to the next planet, which is Uranus, and that means climbing all the way up here. And one of the tricky things was finding the best way to get to that route and being able to build a path up to there and making this a nice safe path. It's going to be a real fun thing to do. And here is Uranus, a green planet here. And then from there we head on to Neptune, and you can actually see Neptune in the distance, way down that little splotch where my crosshair is. So you have to go up and down, up and down, up and down, all the way through here. So if you are one of the tourists here trying to visit this place to see this exhibit, you better make sure that you have your legs in good shape, because there's going to be a lot of going up and down. So here is Neptune, which is our bluish planet. And then finally, concerning Pluto, to get to Pluto, you have to cross a bridge. So one of my things I want to do for today's episode is to turn this into a safe bridge. Because right now, that is the very definition of not safe. And that is up around this way, twisting around here. And we should be getting along to Pluto anytime. So yeah, here we go. Here's our little rock here. And this gives us Pluto. Now, so happened that when I reached Pluto down here, I also looked around this way and found, see that chest there? That, of course, meant that we have a mine shaft all through there. So therefore, I did quite a bit of exploring inside of there and found mostly gold and the like, which is why I've got a little bit more gold than I had last time. I went into this thing thinking I was going to use up huge amounts of gold. Then I turned the sun into glowstone. So I saved myself a bunch of gold in the end that way, and now I think I'm going to use all that gold that I've been accumulating on this mesa here, and I am going to use that for my gold build because I'm going to need a lot of gold for that. I widened the bridge so that it's now 3 wide, so that should make it a little bit safer. And I also put these pillars at 10 block intervals so that it looks like it's actually being supported. Now the next thing I want to need to do is to put some fences on either end. Unfortunately, I've used up all of my cobble, so my choices are either to head way back home or to dig out some cobble. And I'm going to see, since I've got a mine over there, I'm going to try the latter. So I'm going to grab my workbench over here, head down and collect some cobble. The idea here is just to have some cobblestone fences along the end. Yes, that does make this thing a bit narrower. But that's the reason why I widened it in the first place, so I would have room for this, because it's going to be made, hopefully, safer so that I don't fall off the edge and go plunging into my death. And most of all, of course, for anyone who wishes to visit our little exhibit. There, that looks a lot safer. And I also added torches at intervals so that if it gets dark here, nothing will spawn on the bridge itself. Yes, things will spawn off the bridge, but I figure the worst thing to do is to be out in the middle of the bridge and something spawns in front of you and behind you, and if those things are creepers, you're going to have a bad day. Now the creepers will have to spawn here and go after you that way. Yeah, I know. Perhaps maybe throw down a couple of approach torches also, just to reduce that possibility. And we can put this all the way out to, yes, we will light things up all the way out to Neptune. And in this case, well, I guess maybe not Neptune, more like Neptunium. Now that we have our celestial objects and our path, it means it's now time to take care of our visitor center. Now, if I was just doing a standard visitor center for this one, I wouldn't bother showing it to you, since those are all going to be the same, the standard ones at least. But this time, I will be doing this, which is a circular shape, because I'm going to make this shaped like an observatory. Now, I'm not going to do one of those domed observatories, which are pretty common, but some observatories are, of course, other shapes than that, and occasionally you do find one that's in a cylindrical shape, and that's why I'm going to model this one out of. And as for the floor, I am going to use slabs for the floor, slabs for the floor. And the reason for using slabs is that I don't want mobs to be able to spawn inside, but since this is an observatory, you can imagine that sometimes you're going to be wanting it to be dark out within the observatory, because the idea is to allow you to see celestial objects far away, stuff like that, and the last thing you want is light pollution ruining the view. This particular observatory will be designed for amateur astronomers, members of the public who wish to come out here, came to see the exhibit, of course, and have a little spot where they could set up telescopes and look up into the sky. It won't be a professional one which will have a really huge telescope or anything like that. I think that'll simplify the design a little bit. And we have the stone path that leads to the cobble that brings us to the path of planets. Yes, not everything on here is a planet because we do have the sun, of course, and we have the moon, and way down there we have minor planets such as Ceres, but this is alliterative, and alliterative, of course, trumps whatever is technically correct. Inside the observatory, we will include, first of all, our usual things for crafting and the like. So I will throw a slab beneath that, yes, and then we'll also get ourselves a crafting table. Now, problem with the crafting table is that, aren't those spawnable blocks? Well, fortunately, I do plan to put a little bit of a floor above this, therefore that at least will take care of potential spawners on top of those locations. Actually, there's also that. Alright, and that one too. Alright, well, we'll have this for our crafting table and for our furnace. There you go, there we go for the furnace. And over here, we'll have a ladder. Now the question is whether it's best to have ladders or a stairway here, but for now while I'm building, I will use a ladder, and if I decide I need a stairway, I'll put in a stairway afterwards. So that's what we'll have over there. And the idea here then is that we will have the observatory itself up on top, which is nice and traditional, so that you can have a nice view of the horizon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of extra layers of white terracotta around here, and then I could worry about a topper for it, because I of course also want this top to be spawn proof, and I think I will use stone slabs instead of brick slabs in order to do that, because I think that will go in better with the white terracotta a little bit better. There we have the stone slabs going all around to prevent spawning. So now we need to worry about a material for the floor where everyone's going to stand on. And I was thinking on it, and I decided to try this out of wood rather than stone. The idea is that if it were stone, we would have to worry about supporting it better. And if we were thinking of putting a huge instrument on that, well, if it were a huge instrument, it would probably have to have a base right here, and the telescope would be up there. But since these are lighter instruments, we should be able to get away with a wooden floor. And I figure that the wooden floor would be easier for the rest of the structure to hold up. There we go. Now we'll probably maybe have some maybe some struts in there to make it look like that it is being supported in some way. That may help in that matter. So let's get this all the way up there, and a few more slabs, and we should have ourselves a nice observation platform. The ceiling made the downstairs look much too dark, so I did put a couple of torches here, but none near the entrance here, so that the light would not reach up to the top, because of course we want to be able to see to the darkness here. We could see the horizon on all sides. That's good. So this would be a good place for people to bring their telescopes and the like. Yeah, we are going to need stairs here because I just can't imagine people bringing up telescopes up a ladder. That would just be ridiculous. Here's the design for the stairway, and it goes up here. I have trapdoors in order to keep the elements out of here, and also so that when you are up here, you close trapdoor to reduce the chance of somebody falling down. So it's a little bit of a safety feature there. And down here I moved it so that there are no torches on this wall so that we can minimize the amount of light that gets up there. But this is able to keep everything lit well enough so that we can see. We don't have to worry about mob spawning since we are on a slab floor here, so everything should be fine. Good. This is a closet where they could store the various telescopes that they rent out to any tourists that wish to observe but didn't bring their own. And I could just imagine trying to get all the way here with a telescope, so I presume they get half their fees probably from rentals there. And here you can see clearly out into all four directions. Well, that goes into the seas, mainly ocean there, but since this is an observatory, the main thing you want to see is upwards anyway. But you could clearly see the horizon. Well, except on this direction where you've got the mesas all sticking up into there, so that will make things a little bit more difficult there. But this is maybe the least attractive side to go to because you can see your sunrises and your sunrises on this end, your sunsets down this end, and you have a nice view to the south where you have stars that may be rare to see, that you'll be able to see them because you got a good view to the horizon up a little bit here. So in this direction is probably the least interesting of the directions to look at from the point of view of an observatory, and it's also the least safe one. So therefore, I don't see too many people getting too close to that area. But that is the build for the observatory. And that concludes our little build for the island dedicated to the elements that are named after celestial bodies within the solar system. And here's a list of the elements in here: 2, 22, 34, 46, 52, 58, 80, 92, 93, and plutonium, which is number 94. Thus, next time we are going to return to our desert where we can start on our periodic table because we have a nice collection of terracotta that we can use for this structure. And we'll see how that goes in the next episode of the Atomic Islands.